Hello, welcome to this episode of Courtside with Caledonia. We're joined by Coach Chantelle Handy. Chantelle, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Good to be here.
Good. So, Shan, obviously into your kind of second season as full-time head coach after stepping up as kind of player assistant coach. When we look at the season we're having right now, it feels like the squad has taken a jump forward, maybe compared to previous seasons, but you're currently sitting second at the table. How have you viewed this season so far?
No, I mean, we came out and we were flying, right? I think the group came in. The team morale that we have is very good, especially in practice leading up. They come in every day, they perform, they work hard. They came here because they want to win.
Yeah.
They came to this program knowing that we made a trophy final last year. We've brought players in from other teams like Tierra and Annie. They want to come to an environment where they group wants to win, the club wants to win, and I think that's been a huge thing bringing in who we've brought in this year with the returners that we brought from last year. Um, Obviously, we've had a bit of a lull in the last few weeks, leading up to the national team break, but we speak to them about, guys, we're still second in the league. There's still a lot to play for. They're upset because they want to win, right? They're competitors and they want to play and they want to perform. So they're upset with themselves that we haven't got it over the line, especially when it came to like the trophy final and then the semi-final in the cup against Sheffield, that their place was a close one to the last few minutes. And so there's disappointment within the group, there's disappointment within the staff, but I think we need to look at the bigger picture in what we still have to play for.
And how, during those kind of difficult games, obviously just said the final, the other games against Hatters, the Oakland game here, for example, how do you, during these kind of difficult times, kind of help the players to reset, to go again? And yeah, how do you kind of help the players get through those defeats to be ready for the next game?
I think a lot of it's just reflecting on the game in itself and seeing the moments where we've made mistakes, and with a team like Hatters, you can't make mistakes back to back because they punish their mistakes. And I think that's what we learned in the two games, and then we improved on that going into the semi-final for sure. But just showing them details in video, but also showing them the good things that we do when we're effective.
Yeah.
Because I think they forget that when you're losing games, like we lost 3 games in a week, like 3 weekends in a row. So their morale is low, right? But then still trying to get them to understand we're doing good things in them games. So you need to just keep bringing that and bringing that every week. And I think they also focus on the negative so much, but that's normal. Players do that, you know? I mean, we do that as staff. And I think trying to get them to keep them in the mindset of where we are in the league, we still are going for the goals that we want to go for with the league and looking to go to the final and things like that. So it's just trying to keep them in that positive mindset even when you're losing, which is difficult to do because they're already putting themselves in a frame where they're upset about losing.
Yeah. So what do you like to do when you're like away from the court in those kind of moments of needing escapism? What do you like to do away from the court that kind of helps you stay focused? Well, I know coaches in the past from teams here have gone off and like swam in Loch Ness or Loch Lomond or whatever, gone escaped up the Highlands. What do you like to do?
For me, I think it's hard to turn off. I think I've got a lot better at it this year from what I was last year. I used to take a lot home with me. But I've learned that that just does not help anybody, never mind me, but the players in themselves. I like to just turn off. We go for walks, go up to Loch Lomond if the weather's nice. Just try and get away from the environment. I think we're here all the time because we're in working, but you're never completely turned off. Especially like we've just had a break for 6 days, and it's probably the first time in the year that I've actually turned off. So that was quite nice. But you're always back in because we have so much to work for still.
And obviously you're saying about that kind of break, but we talk about the heading into this kind of international period with all that kind of pressure of the games coming up. I think we said before we started, 7 games on the spin. How do you get ready to go again and again and again?
I think this break came at a good time, to be honest, especially for this group and the way that the games have fallen and how we performed in them games. Like we came into practice yesterday and they're bouncing.
Yeah.
They're ready to go. They've refreshed. They're eager they understand what we have to do to get where we want to go. So I think like the break came at the good time, but now it's back in. We're back in, we're focused, we're working on the details of things. We're breaking down stuff because we have time to do that. We don't play till the 29th.
Yeah.
So now it gives us time to really hone in on the things that we need to work on.
And any kind of wee change you need to make.
Yep.
So you said it there about acting or this season understanding what to do differently as a coach, but how do you feel like yourself has kind of grown and developed as a coach in your kind of short coaching career so far?
I think it's difficult. I think I always look internally. I always look at myself and how I can improve with the decision making in games, the way I handle players, and I think that's been the biggest thing for me, especially with this group. And learning that the way I was coached is not always the
Yeah.
best way for these players to be coached. So trying to adapt to each player because they're all different. Some respond to certain things, some don't. So really just trying to get a bit more of a better understanding of what players need what
Yeah.
in certain instances. And I think I've had moments throughout the year where I've got it wrong. I've had moments where I've got it right. So I think just reflecting on that, the player development in as in looking into how I can improve with how I can get the best out of them.
Yeah.
And I think you're always learning in this environment. I think, and it was funny. I was talking to Donnie today. I was like, there's not a one answer for everything. You're constantly learning. So I think for me, it's been that of my behavior and how I manage the players and how can I get them to be on board and how can I get them to be confident, but also still hold them to a standard. And
Yeah.
then, so it's difficult. Right. And I think like I was always coached in a way, but I was used to it, and I think
Yeah.
like the players now are a little bit different. So then I need to adapt with don't coach how you were coached.
Yeah.
You can learn from things and you can take little things that helped and didn't help, but I'm constantly learning. It's a day-to-day thing for me.
Are you enjoying it still?
I am. It's definitely different. I think
Uh,
playing is you look after yourself.
yeah.
And I was very good at that. I got good at it. I played for so many years, so it was but now it's management of myself, it's management of players, it's management of staff, it's management of scheduling. And I think like trying to get that right. The tactic in the basketball is the easy part. To be honest, I think
Yeah.
it's just trying to get everybody to get on the same page. And I'm lucky with this group. Like they're invested in what we're doing. They want to fight, they want to win. So that makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like they come in and they work hard. I don't need to coach that. So with that group, like they're amazing at that. It is just then tweaking the smaller things.
And obviously the Blues program is a big part of the club ethos as well. How have you found that integration in? Obviously dealing with younger players once again. But yeah, how's that also then helping raise the standards around the club as well?
Yeah, well, these kids come in and they know the standards, so they come and they perform that every
Yeah.
week. They've been with us for like this is the 4th year now. We've had Carrie, Alex, and Emma. Alex a bit less, but they know they come in and they set the tone. Yes, they might not be the level of the pro yet, but they're definitely getting there. Like
Mm.
these guys are coming into games and the level is not dropping, right? And it's been unfortunate the last few weeks where we've played Sheffield and all the top teams, so their minutes have gone down a little bit. But coming into the next few games, we're hoping to get them in and get them in the rotations. But they work hard, they come in, and I think it's been good for them also to go to Blues and have big minutes,
Yeah.
play, get up and down, play with intensity, and then they bring that back into practice. That you can see the difference in them from when they weren't playing in a separate team to then coming into practice. And it's unfortunate, like Emma and Kerry got injured
Into
early,
preseason, yeah.
and it was tough because they were coming off such a good summer, and then they dropped, and then Alex got hurt. So it was then we're trying now to get them back into the rhythm. They're just now, I think, starting to really come back with the confidence that they had at the beginning of the
Because
season.
that's why the first thing for them as a three, that preseason setback, it's
Yes.
then
And it was like we went through the preseason,
Yeah.
right? And then the first game, and it was Alex. I mean, Kerry and Emma, same game.
yeah.
And then Alex a few weeks later. So it was like, oh, it was frustrating. But they're definitely these kids work hard. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're dedicated to what we're doing, and Donnie does a great job with them in the Blues and having them transition.
And
And
obviously a lot of them were balancing education at the same time.
that's another. Their schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but they're committed. So that's huge. And I think like the pros see that, and I think it's exciting when they go into a game and the pros are excited because they're doing well.
Yeah.
Like Kiva came in for our game. She came and hit shot. The bench went crazy. That's what it's about for me. It's like we want the pros to understand that we're invested in our domestics and our young players as much as we are as the pro setup.
Yeah. When we look at kind of the opportunity for the team this season, what were the objectives heading into the season? And does that kind of talk about aiming for playoffs help players? Do you think it hinders, or where do you kind of go with this squad when you talk about the potential outcome for the end of a season early on?
I think they set their goals
Mm.
from the beginning. So they wanted to make a final. They wanted to compete. They wanted to be one of the top teams in the league. And I was like, we're still there. We've made a final. Yes, unfortunately, we didn't get across the line, but we are improving year in, year out. And I think they understand where they're at right now, but they understand to get where they really want to get to, we really have to put the work in and really understand the detail and understand where we went wrong in certain games, especially against Sheffield. So they've set that as much as we'd set that as a club, because of course, we want to go to finals, we want to be competitive, and we want to improve every single year. If we're not improving every single year, we're not doing our job, And I think like we set that tone for the beginning, but the group did that. They did that alone. So,
and how do you think when we look back to playing out of the Lagoon and Paisley, someone, and you look at the growth of, say, someone like Hannah in the last couple of seasons, what impact does that have? Obviously, she's now a mainstay of the GB setup as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge. And I think like she's come to it, especially now she's come up from Leicester. She came to us and Leicester was successful, but we've maintained the successfulness of the club here. So I think like, and she's a leader on this team. So I speak to her all the time, but I'm like, I need you to be more like be more vocal with them. Like she's like a coach on the floor for me. Like her IQ is next level. Um, but that's through the experience that she's had throughout the years, and she's been in different environments. She's been to GB. She's been with different coaches, so she understands what we want from her. And I think like she's grown hugely over the last few years for us.
Yeah. When we look at the games against the Hatters, we're saying it's these kind of moments within it that maybe one or two missed shots in a row, and it's amazing what momentum does.
100%.
What are you looking at for the? You'd hope down the line that like the potential of facing Hatters again will be the playoff finals, likely or potentially. What do you look for to help get that over the line? How much is it down to preparation? How much is it just in the moment making good decisions as well?
And I think that's a big part of it too. Like it's a basketball game, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes. And I think for us as a group, it's more cleaning up them moments where we make one mistake, but we can't make another and another. And then we can't, like, we've had moments in games where we were down 17 to Essex here.
Yeah.
And we fought back and won the game. So you can do it. So it's trying to get them to understand there's been moments throughout the season you've been in these situations before. You've dug your way out of them. It's just we can't get in them. And that's the biggest thing. It's like we can't have a 17-point deficit and then come back and win. We were lucky to win that game, but they fought to get back in the game. And I just think sometimes we forget, especially within the last few weeks, of how much positive stuff we have done throughout the season as a group. You know, and I think we have certain players that will put a lot of pressure on themselves to be that player. When we're collective and we play together, we're a tough unit to beat.
And when you look at, say, the standard of the league, we talked before we started recording playing London last week, their kind of growth, what do you feel like the standard of the league's developed in the last few years?
Oh, it's huge. I think even just from the time that I've been here, the 4 years, and you look at the league now, it's like there is top teams, but them middle to they can still compete with you. So like it's like the Manchesters and the Newcastles and all Leicesters, all them teams can come in and shock anybody. There's players in this league that can perform. And it's any given night. So it's like we can't relax. I've told them we can't go into any game and think we're going to win this game. We knew going into London it was going to be tough. And it was. They came back in the third quarter and got it close. We took out and ran with it. But these are teams that are constantly improving and competing. And they're coming for you.
And is that one thing when we look at the, like obviously quite a few, only such a small season in terms of the amount of games that you only playing each other twice, where the first game mentally probably still be sitting there if you beat a team by 20, 30, 40 points. You probably, when you roll round to that for the second half of the season, players will remember that. And I suppose it's directing them out of that mindset to go, no, it's 0-0 at the start. We need to play.
And you look at the league and how teams improve during the league within this league. It's impressive to see
it's always the case,
teams from like first round to second round. They're different teams. So they've either changed players or they've had more time together. So they're more cohesive. And I think you can't underestimate anybody in this league right now.
And I suppose when you look at the fixtures coming up, we've got Nottingham here, you've got Manchester here. What are you hoping to see from those games, especially at home?
I would like us to play the way we can play, regardless of who we're playing. I want us to get out and run. I want us to play with intensity for 40 minutes. We can't go 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And then, like, to be fair with this group, they don't relax. They play to the end. But we do have moments where we make mistakes and we kind of dwell on them and then we lose the momentum a little bit. So we need to use these next few weeks within practice to put them in situations where they're now able to handle situations like this.
So when you look at this season's squad, how does it compare to previous seasons? Is there things that obviously differ personality-wise, but who's maybe surprised you the most heading into this or with this squad?
I think every group's different, right? We spoke about this before we started, and I think we did a very good job of getting people that wanted to come in and compete and win. These guys come in here every day at practice and they compete to the point sometimes where I have to be like, guys, you know, like they want to win. And I think that mindset of every day coming in like that, they're going to have an off day once or twice. It's normal. But I've never had a group where it's every day. Like it's refreshing that I can come in and just be like, right, we're doing this. And they're like, okay. Like, and I've had that in the past, but I've also had days or weeks where it's been like, oh, I'm tired which is normal for athletes to do.
Of course.
But this group is very different in that aspect. And if one is pulled down, like they're in their ear, and it doesn't affect the group as a general, like they're gonna have a day or two. It's normal. But I am impressed with them with their work ethic and
Is there someone that's kind of you expected so much, but they've actually exceeded that in terms of personalities, in terms of what they do for the
I
rest
just
of the
think a
group?
lot of them are different. Some of them are different to what I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Tierra, like she plays like a beast, like the way she plays, but she's very calm natured and she's very quiet. And it's interesting to see when you're, especially when you're seeing them from the outside and you haven't had interaction with them from like previous years. It's interesting to see the personalities. Like Annie's very quiet, but it's a beast. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the mentality
The
of like,
basketball does their
yeah,
talking
like the
almost.
opposite. And it's funny because as a player, even when I was playing, it was like I was seen in a certain way on the floor, totally different to what I am off the floor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you don't see that unless you spend time with these guys.
So we're into this final part of the season where every game counts. What is your message to the fans?
We're going after it. We're going after try and get as close to the top as we can, and we want to make it to a final.
Yeah.
So every game for us is a lock-in game. We're going to treat every game like it's a playoff final. We need to win, and we want to win, and the players have that mindset.
Right. Shan, this has been really good. Hopefully everyone enjoys this home. Give it a like, share it online, whatever you need to do. And yeah, thank you for joining us, Shan.
No worries.
Awesome.